Welcome, everyone. We've got part of the Lofty team with us. I just saw them at the Inman event. I got to shake their hands in person. I also got to meet Kendra, who's in the background, which is nice for the first time. And today we're going to bring to you something that I'm going to pop in the screen really quick and then intro the guys. But Blast by Lofty, we talked about it a little bit last time. And there were a lot of people who messaged us and said, what is it? How can I get it? Where do I sign up? Well, this is what we're going to talk about today. We've got Ernest and we've got Brian. What's up, guys? How are you?
Hey, Trishan. How you doing?
Thanks for jumping on this. Where do you guys want to start when it comes to Blast? Because I know it's taking off pretty fast.
I'm going to open up and say hi, everybody. I really enjoy coming to these events like this and these webinars. Trishan, we go way back for many years. Very excited. Historically, little historical perspective of Blast. Take Blast and Boost. Everybody understands Facebook Boost. I didn't want to use a term, or we didn't want to use a term that was already confusing. Some people boost listings in their promotional boost, not lead gen boost, and some people boost listings, and it's all confusing. I won't go into the history of where boost came from and Facebook and dynamic ads. Let's just say people get confused between the two different ways. And so what I'd like to say is Ernest, as an agent, use both Blast for many times, so he can give an agent perspective. He also works here at Lofty, and so we're going to make this simple. Essentially, this is the first ever leads on demand lead ATM machine. For 20 years, agents have always tried to figure out, how do I just get leads? How do I just get leads? I don't need a website. I don't need SEO. I don't need a CRM. You could be fresh out of real estate school. All you need is a valid MLS ID. You don't need anything. And sometimes the simplest answers are the best answers, which is, I want to push a button and generate leads for a listing, or expose my listing to the community.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a sign in front of the yard, and we're all agents, right, Ernest? You have 35 listings, right, stacked, ready to go. The number one seller is a sign in the yard, right? Everybody agree?
Yep.
So taking your listing that you have and using Facebook to create a sign on Facebook and a geo sign across everybody within a certain radius of that home on their Facebook page and pop it up with that listing, that's Listing Blast or Lofty Blast, allowing you to do that. We'll walk you through it. But we also wanted to tweak it. Ernest, if you didn't have a listing, you're out of luck, right?
Yeah, 100%.
How does the average agent generate more hyperlocal marketing, more advertising? You have to borrow listings. It was very hard. I mean, we're talking 20 years. Remember, we used to borrow listings, get permission. Ernest was like, get written permission from a listing agent. Hope you can get it. You need that listing, right? So for a long time, trying to figure out how can we use Facebook on demand for agents. So we figured it out. And that's what Blast by Lofty is. It also gives you a zip code. So we're going to walk everybody through this. So pick a zip code, pick your listing, get leads. It's that simple.
I want to bring up something really quick, and I wasn't sure if we were going to go here or not, but I'm gonna share my screen really quick, and then we can share your screen. Can you all see my screen? This is Wikipedia.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Most visited websites in the world as of July, so just a couple of weeks ago. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, ChatGPT. Facebook is the third most visited website in the world. Here's what's happened just over the last year to 2 years, which is very interesting because what we've seen, because we do a lot of lead gen that we pay for through Lofty and outside, and that's this. People are now going to ChatGPT instead of Google to start their search, to start their questions. And what happens is that's leaving Google out of that mix, which means PPC, what we've seen, PPC has actually gone down a little bit. Google pay per click.
20% almost in some markets.
Dude, we saw it happening. We're like, what is happening here? And we pivoted and put more money on Meta, Facebook, Instagram. And all of a sudden, these leads are higher quality again. I'm like, what's happening here? It feels like 2016.
Yeah, it's old school. It's like getting connected locally. It's where you want to be.
Yeah, so that I wanted to start there because I didn't expect that, guys. I had no idea that was going to happen. So
you know it's even more powerful, Ernest, and I'll let Ernest talk a little bit about this. AEO is the term now everybody's using. AEO marketing, answer engine optimization. What that pulls from is your social media listing on Facebook. What that pulls from is your blog content and social blogging listings. What that pulls from is articles. It's old school. It's turning back the Google lead by, hope to get leads, and all this gobbledygook we've been doing for 20 years, and turning it into, I want to shake somebody's hand in person and be the expert. It's what every agent's built their business on, but they got caught up in this trying to find leads and not create relationships. Hyperlocalism is where we're at. Be the local expert. Now you have ChatGPT saying, hey, I'd like to know. And it sends videos of, I bought a kayak, okay? It sent me all the videos. It pulled all the content, and it pulled me YouTube videos. I have agents now that are creating content on Lofty through AI Marketer, and it's being pulled in by ChatGPT. Your listing content is being pulled. Your zip code content, your marketing on Facebook gets pulled. It's expedite. It's a multiplier. And so that's what we're here today, is to talk about how can the average agent, without a website, without a CRM, and you don't need Lofty, but you can use Lofty for all the other good stuff. But how can we make it the easy button? I love that you say the push button ATM. And so, Ernest, can you share a little bit? And let's jump on the blast.com website really quick, loftyblast.com. By everybody here, you can go here like we're going, loftyblast.com. Ernest is going to share a little bit of his success using this, and we're going to walk through how easy it is to order. And then we could talk a little bit about what you want to talk about. Also, we talked about is really about creating this idea of hyperlocalism and how to drive that. One way to drive that is leads on demand through hyperlocal marketing. That this is the easy button. But then let's expand to what other ways can we do that? Does that sound good for you, Tristan, and your group?
do it. I like it.
So Ernest, hit the what you use this for as an agent, and how you've used it and how it's helped you generate leads for your business. You have 2 teams, you have 35 listings. What are you using this for, and how are you using both on the zip code and on the listing itself?
Yeah. So, I mean, starting with like the first challenge, Brian, I think what most agents struggle with as they scale and start growing their business is creating the lead gen funnel, right? Being able to set up the ads and spending the time to actually set up the ads. I found myself, I was a control freak, kind of like, maybe some of us out there, where you want to control what the ad says, you want to control what it's doing and when it's set up and how it runs and your budget. And one of my biggest challenges that I actually had when I started scaling, I mean, when I say scaling, getting over 10, 12, 13, 14 transactions a month or listings a month, was the time consuming constraint of creating that digital ad copy every single time, or going to a Google Doc and creating the ad inside of Meta. And Blast actually solved my problem. I mean, 35 listings, you could figure if it took you an hour a listing to set up an ad, that's roughly 35 hours of my time every month to just set up an ad. That's a week's worth of work. So by handing that over to Blast, it's really kind of given me that time back, but it's also increased my revenue. It's built me more leads in my pipeline to distribute to agents. And it helps me scale faster, which is really, really cool. So the one thing I do like about it is the dynamic ads that it runs for my listing. So it's not just like a single image. If you were to go and try to create this same ad inside of Facebook right now, you would have to go and download all of your photos for your listing and then manually create them into this carousel style ad inside of Meta account, right? You would have to go add each individual photo and then add the description or add the title of that photo and so forth, which just is super time consuming. So when Blast was able to solve that and automate it, it's just kind of like a no-brainer. Plus, it moves dynamically through the statuses of my listings. So when I schedule an open house, it'll automatically go ahead and change that actual ad copy for me. I don't have to worry about that.
Let's pause right there.
Dude,
so for you guys, it isn't just agents saying, oh, I can do this myself. Yeah, you could. Maybe you can gamify. Maybe you want to. But then when your ad and your listing changes statuses, we've solved a massive problem. To keep your ad up for 1 week. Keep your ad up for 2. do that automatically so your ad stays present all the time. That is the secret sauce to listing marketing within the Meta, is to be able to do it automatically and use AI and use really creative ways to do that. We're here to measure, perfect by the thousands of ads to perfect for you guys. So that's one thing. There's another thing before we get into the special sauce with Zip. Ernest, you said listings. Now I want to make sure that one of the mistakes we're making as in our space is we think this is buyer lead or seller lead. Buyer leads, seller leads. When you're doing social media marketing, you're hyper targeting local people. So Ernest, what's a zip code that you like to market in?
Just yeah, so the one I market in is 78247.
All right, 78247. In that market, there's a percentage of people that are going to see these ads. And we can say, by the way, you can actually know what percentage of those eyeballs are renters, what percentage are homeowners. So you're marketing to the renter or homeowner. You're not marketing to a buyer or seller. If you're approaching these ads, homeowners spread like viruses. They look at homes. They look at content. That is a homeowner marketing ad more than it is a buyer seller ad. So you want to approach them as, hey, you're a homeowner. You clicked on my ad. I've got a list power analysis. Would you like to check it out? They may want to buy too. But if you approach them, you're not going to get the listing. You're going to push them away by going, would you like to buy that house? You know, it's not about buying the house. It's about creating hyper-local content that attracts hyper-local people, that hyperly local want to find you on ChatGPT or find you somewhere. So Tristan, it's the wrong approach.
Dude, I agree.
It's just literally like the Pied Piper. You're creating candy that your hyper-local people see, just like a flyer, but Facebook, which is the third most searched website in the world. You're not putting yourself out there enough. You think that we're marketing to our Facebook and friends. You're not. You're marketing the people geographically where you can take them. It's the number one way to create relationships in the world, and yet we're not leveraging it the right way. So Ernest, listing marketing, great. I think people get that and how we gamify it. It's awesome. You just pick. So we'll talk about how easy it is in a second. Let's talk about zip code marketing with Facebook, which is new, unique, and something we cracked the code on.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like you were mentioning at the forefront of the call, you know, as an agent, if you have no listings, it's like, how do you market, right? You can go run Google pay-per-click and do search ads and spend a bunch of money doing that. But in reality, you know, one thing that Tristan mentioned is we're kind of seeing this transitional shift come back to Meta ads, right? And getting higher quality leads off of Meta and Facebook and so forth. So how are we going to do that if we have no listings and we don't have a really good ad copy? We know historically that dynamic ads generate the most engagement. At least I found that in my business. I remember banging on the door trying to ask for XML feed so that I could actually set this up on my own, because I wanted the listing feed for my website so I could get into a Facebook catalog and start running 50 listings, you know, ad carousels inside of my Facebook account, which I did. And I had a lot of great success. And like you mentioned, now, you know, Lofty's cracked the code on it because we got Zip Code Blast. So Zip Code Blast has kind of solved that pain point where, hey, you might not have a listing, but you might also want to run this recurring, maybe the first week of every month, to actually get a fresh set of new leads in your pipeline. My biggest analogy that I like to tell agents on my team is like, hey guys, like we got to think of this as our vehicle. If I want to go eat dinner, what do I have to have in my car to get to go eat dinner? I have to have gas, right? I think of my pipeline in the same aspect, right? I got to continuously fill it in order to grow my business. So how do I do that? I continuously run an ad presence, and Zip Code Blast is given the ability to actually do that even if you don't have listings
or a website or a CRM or anything at all.
Yeah.
You just have to have a valid MLS ID, Christian. So Tristan, you have a brokerage. Imagine how many agents do you have in your brokerage?
Dude, 400.
400. Imagine if for your agents for $99, $100, the first week of the month, all 400 agents, they put it in, and every week your company started off with 10 to 40 leads per agent every month. How much impact would that have your business? Would your agents just want to push the button and get started that way?
It's the easy button, man. I love this.
You don't have to think about it. And they're local. So the brand power for your brokerage exponentially goes up massively, and your agents are getting it, and they don't need anything. So we all have different agents of different skill sets. You know, we have
Yep.
the premium agent. Well, they want to do something they can do. You might have a team; they can do it to bring leads to their team. You get it? It's just
I have a
easy.
question. So in my brokerage, it's easy, or on the team, because they get Lofty, right? So
Yeah.
any leads that come through, it's going to go through Lofty. It's going to have the automated system. But somebody who doesn't have Lofty can still use this. How
Yep.
where do the leads go? Like, where do the leads go to? Do they get emails? Where do they
Yeah, that's a
sit?
great question. Go down to the next part, the how it works, real quick. And so how it works is this: you literally put your MLS ID in, you confirm which one you want or both, you check out, it gives you a dashboard. It shows you what listings we're going to post. It gives you a report in your dashboard. It gives you where you go, and you tell where you want your leads to go. You can get a Lofty system if you want through here and get a demo, or you can push it to FUB, or you can push anywhere. It's just a Zapier. It's like anything else. It doesn't matter. It tells you where to go. If you want it to go to a spreadsheet, it goes to a spreadsheet. If you want it to go, it just tells you through your email parser, sends you an email, and you could parse it in any CRM you want. Close, FUB, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anybody can use it.
I love that, man. Great job on that. Who came up with the name Blast? Brian, was that you or somebody else?
I'll let Ernest speak for me. I talk about me too much.
Ernest, who came up with the name Blast? Because it sounds
Well,
like
it was one of the it was
come up
one of the three of us on this call, and it wasn't me, and it probably wasn't you. So
wasn't
we'll
me.
give Brian the credit and let him scratch it, toot his horn.
I knew it was Brian. That's how
I
Brian
got
talks.
I got sick of using the term that everybody uses, and to me, it's what it really means is you blast your business, and all you're trying to do is attract people. At the end of the day, that's what every agent wants to do, is blast themselves out. And then it also, for me, speaks to blasting your business up, growing your business. So I wanted something that says grow and expand. And that's what blast is. It's about growing and expanding your reach. And that's a true marketing term. That's what I came across and why we wanted to use the word blast. That's what I was thinking. Just like our other product, Bloom Your Business, which we'll talk about another time, our auto farming tool that's not yet available outside of Lofty. Next soon will be, but Bloom, Blast, it's all about expanding your reach. And that's what we're trying to show. How you make money with Lofty or any business in real estate, how can you help agents make money, is to bloom their business, blast their business, expand their business, expand their reach. And it has to be accessible to the brand new agent out of the business, because they're the ones that struggle the most. 90% of the agents do very little business, 10% do all the business. We have a gap. And seems like that in society too. Billionaires are up here, the average worker down here. I'm an average guy. I want an average connection. I want all agents to, I want to make the common agent expand their business and grow by 3 to 5 deals a year. How do we do that? We blast their business.
All right, quick question by Dimple Cover. So why would anyone do Google PPC? Is this better? It's a great question. I want to know how you guys answer it, or I can answer it, whatever you want.
I hate it. I hate Google PPC. Is it close enough to everybody here?
Oh, so
I knew
funny.
it was coming. It was coming. It was bound to happen.
That's so funny.
So the reason I hate it is because it's oversaturated. You're competing against Zillow, so your dollar goes a lot low, a lot. You see, back in the day, for everybody here, 20 years of doing Google PPC, you were competing against Boomtown, Commissions Inc., Chime, Sierra Interactive. Those ads dominated the search, okay, 1 to 2. And when now you get in, you're going against homes.com, you're going against Zillow, because they're not getting enough traffic. They're
and all the builders too, man. All the
right,
local
builders.
builders.
So all these companies are outbidding. They're trying to drive up the cost, these lead aggregators. So if they drive up the cost per lead, that forces you to buy leads from a third party, but now you're paying their margin.
Yeah,
that's
all right.
wrong. It's bad. So
Listen,
there's got to be an alternative.
I'm going to stick with that answer. That's good. And then what do we got? David says, this is a great question. How does one get to the hyperlocal? I thought Meta's Facebook had the 15-mile radius. Has there been a change? Great question.
That is great question. Hyperlocal is a 15-mile radius. Hyperlocal is the guy down the street from your house. Hyperlocal is door knocking. Hyperlocal is flyers, mailers, postcards. Hyperlocal is flipping a sign on the side of the road.
Yeah.
As we're agents in Hyperlocal, it's not just one zip code. It's like creating a Venn diagram that overlaps through a hypermarket. So I like to think of hyperlocal as you have intralata, long distance, and in local calls. Okay. As a real estate agent, because we have contract to close now, this is really important to connect that dot, Tristan, for everybody here. This is the first time in history as an agent, and that's another reason I don't like Google. Okay. A better reason other than me being flip it. Okay. Is that you can now sign somebody up into a buyer agent contract. They have to have one to show the home. For example, Facebook does a 1 week buyer agency agreement for all your flex. Okay. 1 week, but consumers might shop and want to buy over 6 months. We have the golden ticket. If you're dealing with people hyper local, it makes it easy to get them on a contract, on a buyer progressive contract over a longer period of time. So if you put somebody on Google where they're outside of your market and that's your target audience, it's hard to get them into a buyer agency agreement if they don't live locally. So this hedges your search to be where you can get more people under contracts or more money under lifetime value. So the more you connect locally, you have a better chance of getting that contract done, both on the purchase side and the seller side. So hyperlocal is where the biggest value per lead is. But Google makes it hard on Google to delineate between hyperlocal search versus dreamers that live in, say, if I live in California, I might be dreaming of moving to Florida, but I don't want to move for 5 years. That lead takes a long time to close. But if I got them locally, I then have a much better chance. So that, I hope that answers that gentleman's question. Hyperlocal is just somebody who lives within your geographic region. You talk your zip codes out, so you rotate in, so you cover an overlap. That's why we did zip code blast the way we did it.
Yeah, I'm going to layer something on top of that for David and for everybody else. When we're looking at running ads, because we're currently doing this, right? When we're looking at running ads on Meta, we rely a lot on their algorithm to not only do the 15-mile radius, but more importantly, start picking out the people inside of that radius that we chose based on their AI tools that say, hey, look, you know what? Brian is very similar to Ernest. And I think these two, based on how they're interacting, have a high chance of not only just liking your post, but also probably being a buyer of this one. And then they start going to find all these other ones with the same or similar criteria. And that is hyper local when you rely on the AI to do that for you.
You know, it's cool that you bring that up, Tristan, because that's kind of like our Lofty Bloom product, like Brian was mentioning a minute ago, which we'll probably talk about at a later date. But one of the things and reason why I have 35 active listings right now is because what I did is completely different. It's now called Bloom, but I actually went out and bought all the homeowner data for specific neighborhoods.
Okay.
And then leverage that to create lookalike audiences inside of Facebook to retarget them, hit them with postcards dynamically as listings were coming to the market near them or selling near them. I honestly haven't run like Google pay-per-click ads in almost 2.5 years. And we've just been absolutely crushing it just by doing that exact strategy paired with zip code blast and listing blast, right? Because we're just setting that presence and that brand awareness so dominant in that market that other agents are just basically throwing their hands up in the air right now, which is kind of cool to see.
And the best way to look at this, Tristan, is you could blindly shop on Google ads. That's a blind ad. It's blind. Okay. Where hyperlocally, you can target. You can gamify your presence to target the reach and what you're looking to do. And what that means is it's not about just the ad, it's about the follow-up and nurture after the ad because you know something about them. You don't know anything about a Google pay-per-click ad. You know, they looked at homes and for sale. They're just looking at a random area. And we also think buy, sell. No, homeowner or renter, think that way. And so the reality is just that we go down a path and everybody's looking for leads and everyone wants to sell you something. They don't always think about the end results. They think they want to get something that's at the cash register ready. In real estate, it's about a long-term sale of 7 years, 10 years, 20 years. Ecosystem in your business. The only way to create a true ecosystem is hyperlocalism. We lost that trying to buy a bunch of leads online. They're saying they're leads to buy. There's no such thing.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer on that. All right. Wilfredo, thanks. By the way, Wilfredo, thanks for interacting. You've got some good questions and comments. He says, retarget how without here. I'm just going to put this up. Retarget how without Google Ads on Lofty? Question mark. How are we going to do that?
I can let Ernest answer that question specifically because he practices every day of his business within, but retargeting is a target is you can do that. You don't have to have Google Ads. You're taking your ecosystem and you can take your entire database. So you can do retargeting to people that are brand new leads, your sphere, your friends, your family, your mother. I have an agent that does a kiosk at farmers markets all over his market to create hyperlocal presence. It's very inexpensive and he gets business all day long because he creates a homeowner portal within the farmers market. But as those people come through his farmers market, just like the movie, they'll scan your eyes as you walk by and it pops up ads, you can create an ecosystem that goes beyond that one-time engagement. So I'll let Ernest talk a little bit about that because it isn't just the blast leads you retarget. It's everybody is in form of retargeting. It's like digital farming. And that's what we're really creating is a farm that grows opportunity. So go ahead, Ernest, if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of checked all the boxes on the question there, but the one thing that I would add is kind of like creating that revolving ecosystem, right? Where you're getting leads from listing blasts, you might be getting your sphere of influence leads, your database leads. The idea is that you're still using the same Facebook pixel when running those retargeting ads. So the best thing that you can do as an agent is just continuously run a strong ad presence with like zip code blasts. It's exactly what I do, right? Because I'm basically hitting them with different ads. Of course, I run some manual ads as well still that are specific to like local neighborhoods, but I'm also still running zip code blasts to display listing carousels and still drive that traffic, keep them engaged back to my website. You know, when I kind of started looking at this in the aspect of how do I make this stronger because we're losing traffic, it was all about continuously bringing it back, right? You might be doing one or the other, but if you're not doing both, you're missing opportunities. So that's why I say when you use your database to retarget them with like Lofty's Facebook retargeting product inside a marketplace that you can get, there's an actual dedicated product to that. You could also use zip code blast to retarget that same audience that has already visited your website or interacting and engaging with it to continuously bring them back to your website. And the more you could be that resource to them, the more likely you are to convert it into a transaction, right? So thinking of things like market reports, you're sending emails, they're sending your social, they're seeing your social media ads, they're getting your market reports, they're getting all this automation that's bringing them back to your site and keeping them cached so that you can continue to retarget them, stay front and center, stay top of mind, and so forth. I mean, for what it's worth, I can barely get out of my neighborhood without somebody knowing who I am and being like, hey, dude, like we're going to sell here in the next 2 months. You know, fantastic. Great. We're seeing your ads. We know who you are. We know, you know, what you do and just kind of doing it through that avenue. And that web presence is just going to build a strong brand, but it's also going to help you retarget them. So you don't have to do things like Google pay-per-click and pay $30, $40, $50 per lead or per click.
So real quick, it's a great point. And there's some questions here I see coming in, Trishan, about does it work other places? So we just went up to Trishan. It was great. Thank you for sharing that website. Popular. Facebook is global. Okay. Within a Lofty, or if you're using another service, if you don't have a way to dynamically create content, important. So you're in Mexico, Facebook's global. There's no stopping you, but you need to create landing pages and content that can automatically be created. You know, within Lofty and maybe other companies out there, you need to be able to create automatic landing pages. So if I'm in Mexico, I can create a Facebook ad audience and I can drive a landing page with the lead that has language, Spanish speaking, and drive that lead into your ecosystem. So Facebook isn't relying on the same barriers that you might get in other forms of advertising. It is global. A tip for everybody here, let's say that I have done this with many masterminds. I have people searching in this market moving from Brazil to here. I have people in South Florida moving from Cuba or South America. How do I target them? I'm like, that's easy. Just go to Facebook. You can target people who live in South America and say that you have ads that you want to look in the move in Florida. Click on this link. It's the easy button. We keep looking for the fruit that's ready to be picked off the tree that wants to buy today and show, instead of looking for the audience that may and want to come and creating a farm and creating our own orchard. Stop looking for the apple, start growing a tree. Lofty in our services of products is the best way to grow trees, to grow a whole ecosystem. It isn't just a secret sauce of one apple you're buying. We have to move away from that. Trishan, you want your agents building a vineyard of opportunity within a market. And we want the easy button to build that vineyard. And so what Ernest is saying, what we're saying is there's lots of ways to grow different trees of value. You can grow, for example, off Lofty Blast. This is a way, but 55 and over. It's recession proof. There's all different ways to niche based through Facebook and social. One of my agents is a personal trainer. And he's like, how do I make money with Lofty? I said, create a weekend personal training course class, advertise it to everybody that wants to get fit on Facebook, get a landing page and give a free personal training at the beach. Now he's got personal trainers all over his market doing free boot camps, and they're getting all of their business from boot camps at zero cost, and they're growing their personal training business. Real estate is not just one job. There's lots of people that have other things and hobbies, golfing tournaments, anything in your whole. So this is not, guys, I don't want you to think this is just about Lofty or just about Blast. This is about creating a hyperlocal feeder system to your business. That's what this webinar is about. Connect, right, Ernest? Connect to your local business, your local wine tasting, walking your dog. I have agents that do a walking dog tour of listings in a neighborhood. Have fun. Now, how do I do that with Lofty? Well, there's a landing page, there's a marketing page, there's a Facebook connection, there's a blast to create a community, there's farming, there's postcards, there's all kinds of ways within our system that our system is the hyperlocal AEO system for your business. Get away from pay-per-click.
I love that. And that's the best way to end. Everyone, scan that QR code or just visit the site, which was loftyblast.com. You can check it out. And like Kendra put up, it works in Canada, US, in Mexico as well. But guys, anything you want to do in closing here?
Have fun. We're so stressed out in real estate today. Okay, have fun. Have fun. Wine, dine, and have a good time locally with your friends and family and neighbors. Have fun. You know, I was at Inman recently, and man, it's coming back. It's coming back to reality. It's really hard to find leads that want to buy, but it's really fun to go to dinner. Some people are doing dinner programs and dinner outings. This is what real estate is about. We lost that. Go have fun. Go have fun. That's what my message is to everybody. Have fun. It's not that complicated, people. Not that complicated.
Good message. Appreciate that. Brian, thanks for doing this. Ernest, thanks for being on and going through the explanation of that. I appreciate that. Everyone else, thanks for joining us. If you're curious, just visit Lofty. Have an awesome day, everybody.
See ya.
Cheers.